How does psychological stress affect genetic activity? Imagine feeling overwhelmed by daily worries and how that might change what your genes are doing inside your body. It turns out, psychological stress can influence genetic activity in surprising ways. When we experience stress, our body responds by activating certain systems, especially the hypothalamus-pituitary-adrenal axis, which controls how we handle stress. This response involves releasing hormones like cortisol, which can affect how genes are expressed. Stress impacts genes through epigenetic mechanisms, which are like switches that turn genes on or off without changing the actual DNA sequence. One key process is DNA methylation, where tiny chemical groups called methyl groups attach to DNA. This can either suppress or boost gene activity. Chronic stress can change these methylation patterns, especially in genes that regulate how our body reacts to stress itself. For example, it can decrease methylation in genes that produce stress hormones, leading to higher levels of these hormones and making us more sensitive to stress over time. Stress also influences genes involved in brain plasticity, such as the brain-derived neurotrophic factor gene. When under prolonged stress, the expression of this gene drops, which can impair the brain's ability to form new connections. This is linked to mood disorders like depression and anxiety. Additionally, stress can modify other epigenetic marks like histone modifications, which further influence gene activity related to immune function and metabolism. These epigenetic changes are not just temporary. They can last a long time and even be passed down to future generations. For example, if a parent experiences significant stress, the epigenetic marks influenced by that stress can affect their children's gene expression and stress responses. This shows how environmental factors like stress can shape hereditary health and influence the risk of developing complex genetic disorders. Understanding how psychological stress affects gene activity helps us see the importance of managing stress for overall health. It highlights that our environment and lifestyle choices can influence how our genes behave, which in turn can impact hereditary health and the development of certain disorders. While stress does not change the DNA itself, it can modify how genes are turned on or off, affecting our health in lasting ways. This knowledge encourages us to find healthy ways to cope with stress, knowing it can play a role in our genetic health and that of our families.